The world around Batman had shifted again, dragging him from the abyss into yet another nightmare. Only now the fog had thinned, and the silence felt heavier than before. He stood not in streets or tunnels, but in a vast, decayed chamber. It stretched like a cathedral, yet its design was unmistakable. Rows of benches, a high central podium, and a looming seat where a judge might preside. The town had reshaped itself into a courtroom, built from rusted steel, broken stone, and walls that pulsed as if alive. Silent Hill had prepared a tribunal, and he was its only defendant. The air was thick with ash and whispers. The benches were filled with silhouettes, faceless figures shifting in the fog. They leaned forward in unison, their hollow heads tilting as if waiting for the trial to begin. Chains swayed above, creaking, as though some unseen audience moved along the ceiling. The entire room was alive with judgment, and it weighed down upon him like a sentence already passed. At the far end, the judge's podium rose from the floor in a mass of chains and bone. The seat was occupied, not by a man, but by something shaped from the town itself. Its form was skeletal, draped in remnants of a robe that was rusted and torn, its face hidden by a mask cracked down the middle. When it moved, the sound was not of flesh, but of grinding metal, as though the entire structure of Silent Hill was speaking through it. The judge was not a being, but the town itself, embodied only for this trial. The cult had spoken of Batman long before his arrival, of a vessel of vengeance, of a shadow the town might claim for its own. Now, with every layer of torment stripped away, he stood at the center of their prophecy. This was not a trial of justice. It was a trial of identity. Protector or monster, savior or executioner, Gotham's guardian or Silent Hill's prisoner. The witnesses appeared next. One by one, the fog at the edges of the chamber coalesced into forms. First came Gordon, his badge shattered and his face hollow, stepping forward with chains dragging from his wrists. Then Alfred, gaunt and pale, carrying his silver tray as though it were an offering. Behind them, his parents appeared, pearl necklace broken, their eyes sunken in sorrow. They did not speak, but their presence was a testimony in itself. Each gaze pressing the weight of failure onto his shoulders. Then came his enemies, distorted figures born from his guilt. The Joker's monstrous grin, stretched too wide to belong to anything human, lingered in the shadows. The hulking outline of Bane emerged briefly, before flickering into a husk of muscle and rust. Even Two-Face appeared, his coin melted into his face, half his body fused into the wall itself. They filled the chamber, blurring the line between ally and enemy, witness and accuser. Every figure stood against him, not with words, but with their mere existence. The trial began without sound. The judge raised one rusted arm, and the walls shifted violently. Scenes from his past burned into the walls like film reels projected on flesh and steel. Gotham on fire. Streets filled with bodies, the alley where his parents fell, repeating endlessly, Robins broken and discarded, catastrophes he had failed to prevent. Every victory he thought he had claimed, now reframed as hollow. Every action an extension of violence. The courtroom showed not what he believed himself to be, but what others saw him as. The prosecution was the town itself, twisting his past into evidence. Each figure in the jury of faceless shadows pointed at him, their gestures slow and mechanical, yet merciless. The pounding of chains echoed as if marking the rhythm of a gavel. With each sound, the images sharpened, the blood, the fear, the endless cycle of crime that never ended, no matter how many he stopped. His mission looked less like justice and more like obsession. The verdict was not yet spoken, but he already knew the weight of it. Silent Hill was declaring that he was no protector. He was a monster in a mask. Then came the defense. It was not spoken aloud, nor was it given in words. The only argument lay in his presence, his refusal to break, his endurance against every horror the town had unleashed. Yet even that strength wavered now. His knees felt heavier, his fists clenched but trembling. Every shadow seemed to press closer, narrowing the chamber, suffocating him in their judgment. The cult's whispers echoed in the background, though no cultists were visible. Their voices slithered through the fog, chanting without rhythm, offering him to the town, calling him what they always believed he was, not Gotham's protector, but Silent Hill's chosen vessel of vengeance. And he could feel it. Silent Hill wanted him. The mask, the shadow, the endless war against crime, It was everything the town fed upon. In him, it saw not resistance, but kinship. The final test took shape. The witnesses stepped aside as a new form rose from the floor, born of chains and fog. It was him, not Batman as he stood, but Batman as the monster the town saw him to be. Taller, armored in rusted steel, cape shredded into chains, cowl fused with jagged metal. Its eyes burned with pale fire, its fists dripping with blood. The Protector had become executioner, and this was the reflection the town demanded he accept. The chamber shuddered as the two faced each other. The jury leaned forward, the judge raised its hand of bone, and the trial became battle, not of body, but of soul. His fears had taken physical form, and they sought to consume him. The confrontation tore the courtroom apart. The walls pulsed with each strike, blood and rust spraying like fire from the walls. The faceless jury clapped their hands in eerie unison, cheering silently with each clash. The monstrous Batman moved with a cruelty that mirrored his own strength, every strike echoing the pain of his failures. It was not a fight for survival, it was a fight for identity. He battled not to kill his reflection, but to deny it. Each blow was resistance against the judgment Silent Hill had laid upon him. Each step forward was defiance against the cult's prophecy. Yet the more he fought, the clearer it became. The monster was not entirely separate from him. It lived in his choices, his obsession, his unrelenting war. The trial was never about punishment. It was about forcing him to see himself for what he truly was. At last, the courtroom fell into silence. The chains stopped rattling. The judge lowered its arm. The faceless jury sat still, awaiting the verdict. The monster's figure wavered, flickering like smoke, but never truly vanishing. It lingered in the shadows, a reminder that it would always be part of him. Batman stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by the phantoms of his past, the accusing stares of allies and enemies, and the endless judgment of Silent Hill. The trial was complete, but the verdict remained unspoken. Because in Silent Hill, the verdict was never given by the town. It was given by the one who endured it. And the question remained, echoing through the fog as the chamber dissolved around him. Protector or monster?